Good evening, everybody. Hopefully, your Wednesday is going great. I am here to read some more banned books because, as we know, this is banned book week, and I am not about the silencing of stories. And so, this evening, I actually, instead of reading one, I'm going to read excerpts from two currently banned books that I will hope that you will read and you will get for your home library and that you will purchase and you will be able to support these amazing writers, one who is still living and one who has gone to the ancestors. So I am Jarima Gorham, the founder and executive director of Burst Into Books. Burst Into Books is a nonprofit located in Chicago. However, we are about transforming our community and world through culturally relevant literature. And what I mean by that is by us telling our stories. And so when we are talking about banned books, we are talking about the silencing of stories. Tonight, we are going to read two authors that I absolutely love because they are amazing storytellers. And not only are they amazing storytellers, that they actually put you in the you feel as if you're in the story as you read both. And both of them have two different writing styles, which I appreciate as well. The first person who I'm going to read is the amazing Toni Morrison. All right. Toni Morrison is one of my favorite writers, right? Both of the people I'm going to read tonight are two of my favorite writers. Toni Morrison is an amazing writer. What I love about her, similar to when I read Maya Angelou on Monday, I am someone who loves the backstory. So if you want to speak my love language, tell me about a documentary that's out. Because I like to know the story behind the story. And so I have watched so many documentaries about Toni Morrison and just how she has been able to use the pen, similar to Miss Queen Maya Angelou, right? Been able to use the pen to invoke change, to challenge thought, to be able to be progressive, to be able to be an activist, and be able to be such a well versed storyteller. And so, The Bluest Eye is her first novel. She has so many that she's known for. She has Sula, Beloved. I mean, the list goes on and on. The Bluest Eye, though, I believe, as her first novel, is an introduction to her boldness in addressing the ills of society, such as racism, sexism, poverty, just the way infrastructures and ecosystems create these environments for young Black girls, in particular in this book. And because of that, I believe this story should never be banned because it is very similar to stories of those who have these same lived experiences, right? And so, The Bluest Eye is going to be the excerpt that I read tonight from Toni Morrison. The second author that I'm going to read from is Jason Reynolds. And Jason Reynolds is another one of my favorite authors who is still living, who does amazing work. We were blessed to have him at our second annual Words of Wonder Festival, and his works are amazing. But the book that I'm going to read from for him is Long Way Down. I chose both of these books because I believe there are books that address issues that are in our society, and the way they approach it is so very different. So I'm going to read just the beginning of The Bluest Eye, and then the way he's written A Long Way Down is like in poetry form. And so I'll show you the pages once I get to it, but it's not like paragraphs. Whereas you see The Bluest Eye, right? If I open it up, you see it's like your typical novel. However, when you look at Jason Reynolds, his is more in like verse form, like a poem. And it's like a poem that's not ending, right? It like continues on and on and on. But that's the way he's telling the story. And so I think it's just so creative. And so another reason why it's so important that we're not banning books is because children fall in love with the creativity of the words, right? The presentation. And so maybe Toni Morrison isn't your cup of tea, right? Or maybe she is, and then it awakens you to all these other amazing authors. Or Jason, he presents the written word in such a creative way that it allows a child to be like, oh, wow, I can write in a different format as well. So that is why it's so important. Hey, Sean, for us to be able to share these stories. So tonight, our banned books are The Bluest Eye and Long Way Down. So I'm going to read just the beginning of the beginning of The Bluest Eye, because I think just the piece that I read will get you to want to read the book. Okay. So, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Quiet as it's kept, there were no marigolds in the fall of 1941. We thought at the time that it was because Piccola was having her father's baby and the marigolds did not grow. A little examination and much less melancholy would have proved to us that our seeds were not the only ones that was not did not sprout. Nobody's did. Not even the gardens fronting the lake showed marigolds that year. But so deeply concerned were we with the health and safety delivery of Piccola's baby, we could not think of nothing but our own magic. If we planted the seeds and said the right words over them, they would blossom and everything would be all right. It was a long time before my sister and I admitted to ourselves that no green was going to spring from our seeds. Once we knew, our guilt was relieved only by fights and mutual accusations about who was to blame. For years, I thought my sister was right. It was my fault. I had planted them too far down the earth. It never occurred to either of us that the earth itself might have been unyielding. We had dropped our seeds in our own little plot of black dirt, just as Piccola's father had dropped his seeds in his own plot of black dirt. Our innocence and faith were no more productive than his lust or despair. What is clear now is that of all of the hope, fear, lust, love, and grief, nothing remains but Piccola and the unyielding earth. Choli bread love is dead, our innocence too. The seed shriveled and died, her baby too. There is really nothing more to say except why. But since why is difficult to handle, one must take refuge in how. That's the opening of The Bluest Eye. All right. So read the rest. Next, I'm going to read just maybe a couple of poems. Because again, like I said, the writings of Jason Reynolds in this particular book is more so like a series of poems, even though it's a novel and A Long Way Down. So I'm going to read it so you get an idea of what the premise of this book is. And then we'll go back to talking about why this matters. This is the beginning of the book. For all the young brothers and sisters in detention centers around the country, the ones I've seen and the ones I haven't, you are loved. Don't nobody. Don't nobody believe nothing these days, which is why I haven't told nobody the story I'm about to tell you. And truth is, you probably ain't gonna believe it either. Gonna think I'm lying or I'm losing it, but I'm telling you, the story is true. It happened to me. Really, it did. It so did. My name is. My name is William Holman. But to my friends and people who know me, just Will. So call me Will, because after I tell you what I'm about to tell you, you're either want to be my friend or not, and maybe don't want to be my friend at all. Either way, you'll know me. I'm only William. I'm only William to my mother and my brother, Sean, whenever he was trying to be funny. Now I'm wishing I would have laughed more at his dumb jokes because the day before yesterday, Sean was shot. and killed. I don't know you. I don't know you. Don't know what your last name, if you got brothers and sisters, or mothers, or fathers, or cousins that be like brothers and sisters, and aunties or uncles that be like mothers and fathers. But if the blood inside you is on the inside of someone else, you never want to see it on the outside of them. The sadness. The sadness. The sadness is just as hard to explain. Imagine waking up and someone, a stranger, got you strapped down, got pliers shoved into your mouth, gripping a tooth somewhere in the back, one of the big important ones, and rips it out. Imagine the knocking in your head, the pressure pushing through your ears, the blood pooling. But the worst part, the absolute worst part, is the constant slipping of your tongue into the new empty space where you know a tooth's supposed to be, but ain't no more. I'll read like a couple more. It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say Sean's dead. Sean's dead. Sean's dead. So strange to say. So sad. But I guess not surprising, which I guess is even stranger and even sadder. The day before yesterday. The day before yesterday, me and my friend Tony were outside talking about whether or not we'll get any taller now that we were 15. When Sean was 15, he grew a foot, maybe a foot and a half. That's when he gave me all the clothes he couldn't fit. Tony kept saying he hoped he grew because even though he was the best ball player around here our age, he was also the shortest. And everybody knows that you can't go all the way when you're the small one unless you can really jump like fly. And I'll just read two more. You see how I just pulls you in? I'm like, I want to keep reading this story. And then there were shots. Everybody ran, ducked, hid, tucked themselves tight, did what they all have been trained to. Press your lips to the pavement and prayed the boom followed by the buzz of a bullet ain't meet us. After the shot, me and Tony waited like we always do for the rumble to stop before picking our heads up and poking our heads out to count the bodies. This time, there was only one. Sean. I'm going to stop there. So, why do banned books matter? Right? I am a believer that all stories, experiences matter. I believe that all of our um, experiences connect us in a way that is familiar. And if it's not familiar, it allows you to see. There's a quote that I absolutely love: books are windows and mirrors. Again, books are windows and mirrors. It is a mirror, a reflection of yourself. So for some of us, reading A Long Way Down or The Bluest Eye, like you know a Pecola, you know a young girl who was being raped or had or was molested or experienced abuse. You've experienced loss. You've experienced why is there no blooming, no harvest, right? You see communities that reflect what's going to be in this book. Some of you all are like William, who's lost a brother, who lost a friend, who's in a neighborhood that's gun ridden, that's in a neighborhood trying to figure out if their next day is going to even come, right? Who is able to try to figure out, I'm 15, am I going to get taller? Am I going to make it past the age of my brother when he died? These are stories that are real life stories for some folks, and it's a mirror. Our authors saw them, right? You read this and you're like, I feel seen. I feel like my story matters. It's in pages. But then books are also windows because maybe you've never experienced the life that William is describing in this book or Pecola is going to talk about in the rest of the characters in this book. However, it creates a sense of empathy in you right? And understanding to know that the world outside of you exists. And it allows you to understand that my reality is not the only reality. And it's not the only reality that matters. And so, why banned books are so dangerous is because we are silencing stories, and we're not allowing people to see out windows, to see out of their own walls. And also, it's a dangerous thing to believe you don't belong in this world if you don't see yourself in the books that you read. That's why I'm so adamant about the books that we sell at Burst Into Books are written by Black authors, because the audience, my target audience, are Black. And it's important for Black kids to see beautiful, beautiful Black faces. It's important for parents to be able to have access to books that tell their story, and not just a story that's written in impoverished neighborhoods and with gun written, right? Stories of the South, right? Stories that tell about traveling the world, stories about everything under the sun, sci-fi. But we are present in all of those stories, and that matters. But it also matters for Black kids to not see themselves in books. It matters for them to read a book about the Holocaust. It matters for them to be able to read about indigenous folks who were first in America and about colonization, and for them to learn about that, because you understand that there is a world outside of your world, and you understand how systems were created that were oppressive, and not just for you, but for other minorities as well. So again, banning books is a silencing of stories, but it also is a killer of empathy. And we need some more empathy in the world, right? We need some more understanding. We need to understand that our stories are what makes us human. And so every night, I will be coming on live, or someone from Burst Into Books will be reading a book. Yesterday was my beautiful mother. It was me today. Tomorrow we'll have a special guest. And again, we might do this a lot more beyond Banned Book Week, because I think it's important for people to understand why people are so adamant about banned books. It's not because we don't want our favorite author's book to be out there. It's because when you ban a book, you're telling me that it does not matter. And that's not right. Love you all. If you were intrigued to read more of Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, or if you have never read Toni Morrison's first novel, The Bluest Eye, as you see at the bottom, it tells you where you can purchase the book. The book is available online if you visit Burst Into Books. We have an online bookstore. We also have audiobooks that you can purchase if you go to bibarts.org. That is our new storefront in Roseland. But again, if you come and visit our store this week, which we are encouraging you to do, we have so many titles of amazing books that are being told should be banned, but we will never ban them. So hopefully you can stop by in person. If not, you can support us virtually and go online and purchase a book, because your donation, your investment into our work is what continues us to move this mission forward. All right. I love you all. Happy Banned Book Week. Until next time, take care.